Good morning, guys and gals. Wavey and I are on Amelia Island. I think that's how you pronounce it. We're at the top of Florida, right before crossing over into Georgia. And this is a little town called Fernandina Beach, I think. Like Fernando, but Fernandina, I think, beach. And it's an interesting little town. We walked over here yesterday to get some gas and look around, and I decided that this morning I want to walk you around a little bit and to show you some highlights of it. It won't be a full-blown tour, but I think we could officially call it some kind of beagle tour. So I'll turn the phone around and I'll show you. These giant trees are always so impressive to me, especially when they leave them like this. This would be the post office. If you like old Victorian houses, then you would really like walking around this town, this downtown area, the whole town, really. It's hard to find one that isn't impressive, and they're all kind of different. And I'm going to try to give you a couple of examples without making anybody too mad by aiming my phone at their house. But I think you'll see what I'm talking about here. This one has a sign in front of it. I'll read it to you real quick. Felon Verot House, built prior to 1866. On February 5th, 1875, Jean Pierre Augustine Verot, Bishop of the St. Augustine, purchased this cottage from Sarah Felon. The Sisters of St. Joseph lived here in the year 1877. When a devastating epidemic of yellow fever swept over the Amelia Island community. From this place for 3 weeks, as the epidemic raged, the small coterie or cottage of sisters risked their lives night and day as they nursed the stricken of every race, Catholic, non-Catholic, rich and poor. They offered comfort and prayers for the sick and dying, even helped bury the dead. Grateful citizens therefore called them Angels of Mercy. Mother Celestine and Sister de Sales, young French nuns far from their mother house in Lisieux, France, died of the fever. They rest in Bosque-Belleau Cemetery, their graves marked with simple stones, crosses bearing the date 1877. Florida's first Atlantic to Gulf Railroad. The Florida Railroad Company was incorporated January 8th, 1853, with David L. Yulee, we keep seeing that guy's name, as president. The line received both federal and state land grants despite early financial difficulties. Construction was begun from Fernandina, where the main office was located in 1856. The final trackage to Cedar Key was laid March 1st, 1861, and Florida had its first cross-state railroad. All right, Beagle, ready to load up? Can you load up on your own? Go. Squid. Go. You got it. Go. You got it. Go. You got it. Go. Squid. One thing I find interesting about this town is it's also got some industry left. This is a chip mill, which I think I saw a chipper on a sign. What is that, a paper mill, or maybe they make wood products? I mean, it's going 24/7, goes all night and all day. And then there's also like a shipyard, I think, at the other end of town here. So for being obviously a tourist destination and having a lot of history and money, it's also still got some industry, which, those two things often don't live in the same town because the tourists don't want to smell the paper mill, and, people that work at the paper mill can't afford the houses. Okay, guys and gals, we are leaving Amelia Island, which is the last stop in Florida, and we're heading to Georgia, so stay tuned. We're going by another inlet, outlet to the ocean. It was kind of a big deal, I think. Just next stop out there is, I don't know, Europe. We're just going to cross by it, through it. Today's a beautiful day to travel. We even have a slight tailwind. I had to double the RPMs because of the outflow, the current. We're just barely moving, 2.7, 2.8. I think I saw a pontoon boat kind of start hugging the island over here. I think I'm going to do that. It might help. Okay, this might be valuable to somebody. You can see that's us right there. That triangle, that red triangle. We are just skirting along the channel here to stay out of the current, because right now this river is, channel, whatever you want to call it, is flushing out to the ocean. Not as bad as it could be. We're kind of at the end of slack tide, I think. But yeah, we were able to get up to at least 3.5 miles an hour, and it's slowly rising. The farther away you get from the inlet outlets, the less current is what I'm finding. Okay, guys, we're officially in Georgia now. This is so exciting. I've never been to Georgia like this in a boat or on the water, so this is all uncharted territory all the way home from here on out, and it's exciting. Just to give you a good idea of the current, you can see that post right there is almost broken. It's like bobbing back and forth. And we're fighting it right now. We should be out of it pretty soon, but right now I'm wasting a bunch of gas. I hate it. Ugh. Up to about 4,000 RPMs, burning all that fuel. I just thought of a great way to explain this. When you get caught up in these currents around these inlets and outlets, it's like trying to escape from a tractor beam in Star Wars or Star Trek or something. We're like just barely getting out of the tractor beam. Okay, guys and gals, we are anchored out just off of the Dungeness Ruins on Cumberland Island, just inside Georgia. They look awesome. I looked up some pictures last night online, so let's jump in the dinghy, and Wavey and I will go over there and show them to you. Stay tuned. You want to go see some ruins? I know absolutely nothing about this place, guys, so we're just going to look around, and then maybe I'll try to find a wiki page or something about it and kind of fill in the blanks. But We're just doing this together for the first time. I like the ruins, abandoned places, ruins. Like an amazing estate. Wow. Wonder why they went in ruins. I wonder. Did it burn down? Sign says Dungeness Mansion Ruins, circa 1896. Someone told me to look out for wild horses. That's probably a wild horse on this island. Looks like there might be some guest quarters over here. Let's take a look. Tabby House, circa 1800. So guys, I haven't seen a park ranger or anybody, any official person here since we got off the boat. And I was waiting to kind of ask if dogs are allowed or not. And as I'm seeing more of these wild horses, I'm starting to assume that probably not. So now, since I haven't been sighted yet, this is a big place. I think we're going to kind of skedaddle back down, and I might try to get a little more footage of you for you. But like I always say, it's how it goes when you kind of do it, like a rebel and just kind of ask for forgiveness and not permission. Sometimes you got to be a little bit of paranoid, so but that's okay. I've seen enough, and I'll try to show you a little more on the way out. You can probably consider that a little primer. Dungeness Ruins on Cumberland Island in Georgia. Definitely worth a visit. I think I saw a sign too that said $15. Look at that. Do not bark. Stop it. No. There is a whole lot more to this place. That trail goes somewhere. That trail goes somewhere. We are going back to the dock. Oh, hi. My name is Wavey Gravy, star of the channel. I want to tell you about the Iceco cooler that Iceco sent us. It's been an absolute game changer on this trip. We don't have to look for ice for our Yeti. We can freeze stuff. Over on the refrigerator side, Brent keeps all of his fatty stuff like butter and heavy whipping cream, and he's probably on his way to a heart attack. But anyways, you should really get one. If you're looking to just an easy solution to keep all your food cold and frozen, you should get an Iceco. Thanks! Good morning, guys and gals. So we are leaving the Dungeness Ruins this morning, Cumberland Island, and it's a beautiful day to travel. Let me turn the phone around and I'll show you. I took Wavy Gravy over to the dock over there this morning to do some pooping and some peeing. There needs to be a song written. Doing some pooping and some peeing, my little beagle. And The wind is going in the right direction, pushing us in our direction. Let me come around to the back here and I'll show you. Had a handful of other, I assume loopers or people just going north, hanging out. Saw a few of them yesterday. Some trawlers, some Grand Banks and some C&Cs, I think. And some sailboats back up in there. So, yeah, guys, got some company at a distance. And I got the dink tied up. And we are going to pull the anchor and hit the water trail. So, stay tuned. Oh, jeez. This is one of those military areas that you're recommended to kind of keep moving past. Like, don't stop, just keep going. So that's what we're doing. We got a dredging operation going on here. We're gonna pass. There might be another one up ahead. Or actually, there's another one right over there. We are going to experiment with the tides and the currents. I'm going to pull over to the top of Cumberland Island here, and around that corner I think is the lighthouse, though they say it's private, but you know, we're just going to go walk on the beach, see if we can see it, kill a couple hours, Wavey and I, get some exercise, get a bath, and then in a few hours it should be low tide and we should be able to make it across the sound a little better. We'll see. I'm not sure if I understand how it all works, but we're going to find out. Stay tuned. We're going to walk around the corner here and see if we can spot that lighthouse. And I think right around the tip here too, we might be able to see the ocean. Let's find out. I spotted it over the hill there, guys. Let's keep walking over there. There it is. Wonder how close we can get to it. Folks that have found our channel after the Great Loop started might not know that I absolutely love lighthouses. And I've made lots of videos about lighthouses, mostly on the Great Lakes. And if you like lighthouses too, you might like those videos. Kind of half expecting to be kicked out of here, so I just nod my head and smile. No one's told me to leave yet. Look at this jellyfish. First time seeing those on this trip. You know, I see tracks for side-by-sides in this kind of beachy basin here. So I'm just going to assume we can at least walk over here. I do see a sign probably saying we can't go up the hill because that's private property. But there's also a buoy, an old rusted out buoy. We can get a closer look at that. Buoy number 7, green. Now we get to see what's underneath the water on these. We go by them. You would not want to run into one. I don't know if it's these or not, but they did make some. They had little survival pods inside. Or like if your ship sunk or something, you could make it to one of these and survive. I don't know if it's one of these though. I think this is as close as we're going to be able to get to the lighthouse, guys, without trespassing. The sign says, "No trespassing. Violators will be prosecuted for criminal trespass." Look how much the tide has went out just in the 45 minutes we've been walking on this beach. I'll try to explain to you guys what I'm doing here. So you can see that the Beagle barge is at anchor right now, and the current is going this way, okay? And the wind is too. So it's a good time to travel around Cumberland Island here, and then around that corner goes into the ocean. It's an outlet. But when I go across the inlet or outlet and I start going back into the river on the other side, I'm going to be having the opposite issue, right? Where I'm fighting the current. So what I'm doing, and I think I'm doing it right, is I'm letting in about 3 hours low tide. It'll be low tide, which means it'll be slack water possibly, and then I can just go across the inlet and back up the other side, not fighting the current or the rivers that are flushing out, or the tides that are flushing out of the ocean. And if you time it just right, you can sometimes get the ocean to even push you back into the rivers because the tides are coming back in. That's how I understand it, but I've talked to people who have been on the loop for years and years and they still don't entirely understand it. So, I'm not sure if I will either, but let's just see how it goes. I'll just keep you posted. Stay. You can see we're still in 14 feet of water. It is dropping. I think it was 18. And we're pretty close to the shore too, but there's a deep channel that comes right along here. So we're just gonna ride this out. Gonna experiment here. Just keep watching the tides and the currents. Okay guys, I can tell that the current's been slowing down a little bit. So we're going to slowly make our way around the corner and the inlet here. Let me show you. Let me steer here for a second. So yeah, we're going to be crossing the inlet there and hopefully not fighting as much tide. We'll see if this works. I'm so glad we stopped and got a closer look at the lighthouse. It's very special. What a special stop. Okay. It's always just a little bit unnerving to cross these inlets because, right out there is this endless ocean. Nothing between us and that endless ocean. We're going around the can like we're sailing in a regatta. The green one is over there, and you can see it. Around the corner so we don't get in the shoal. Though we could have cut a corner, but why risk it, especially in a spot like this? Well, I am glad we didn't cut the corner because look at that. It went from 65 feet up to 8 feet. Okay, well we are getting pushed in by the wind a little bit and the rollers, so we're keeping some speed. So maybe my experiment is working. We did have to raise the RPMs, but I was expecting that. If we were fighting against full-blown current, then we would probably only be going 3 miles an hour. But right now we're doing about 4.5. So I don't know. I'll keep working on this. I will master this by the time we get home to the Great Lakes this summer, and I'll make a video about it to help future shanty boaters. Okay guys and gals, so this is Jekyll Island, the south end of it. It's pretty close to low tide right now, about another half an hour according to the charts. And we're just cruising right along. We've got a tailwind, which has been nice. And the current really wasn't a big deal coming in. So I'm going to continue to experiment with this. The coming in, the ins and outs of the inlets, I think is key for the East Coast. And to try to explain that a little better, meaning just timing the tides. So you're going with the tide, and when you can't go with the tide, you're at least not fighting the tide. So the tides and the currents. That seems to be the name of the game on the East Coast here, at least down here. Got some of the most drastic tides on the East Coast here in Georgia. I've heard some of them are up to 10 feet. So got to be careful with how much depth you anchor in as well. This is Jekyll Island. I don't know if this is a town. If it is, I'll put it on the screen when I make this video. But we're going to anchor somewhere around here and go do some exploring.